G'day everyone, welcome to another video from Sweeney's Creek Farm. Another big job on the go today. We've marked out an area here which you might be able to see behind with some chalk paint. We're going to be preparing these for some new garden beds. These garden beds will be outside of the high tunnels. This is going to be for our corn and pumpkins and melons and a few other crops like that. We are no-till here, but this area here has got a very heavy weed load. It's got particularly a weed that we call cape weed over here. We really want to get rid of that before we start to prepare these beds. So I'm going to turn it over with the rotary hoe. That'll allow us to rake it out. Once we rake it out, we'll be able to put some cardboard down underneath the garden beds just to start that lasagna bed, and then get the soil, and we'll get that amended soil on top to make the garden bed. And in the pathways in between, we're going to put down some weed mat just to suppress the weeds from growing through, and then we'll get a surface covering on there to walk along. It also makes it easier for pumpkins, those people that have grown pumpkins, and I have planted 1 or 2 pumpkin plants before in the past. So as they grow, they'll spread out onto the pathway. The weed mat will suppress the grass, so that will mean that we don't have grass and weeds coming through where our pumpkins are growing. It'll be much easier to maintain them and collect them later on. It'll keep the whole garden bed a lot cleaner and a lot neater. The little yellow beast here, I think you've seen this in one previous video when we were doing the same thing to prepare for the high tunnel. Had a lot of trouble getting it started the other week. Nearly pulled my shoulder blade out of its socket. It just didn't want to go. I've taken it into a local business in town. They've serviced it. I'm hoping it's going to be a one pull and off she'll go. So it's going to be great to get this in. This will turn it all over. Then the hard work of raking it all out and, as I said, reducing that weed load in there. I suppose there's nothing for it now except to get into it. That was a bit easier. You okay with that? Yeah?
As you can see, we got this area here and a bit over there done, but we did have a little bit of a problem. I broke the rotary hoe, and we only had 2 little lines to go, so we dug that out by hand. But as you can see, it's all cleared off. It did actually rain. This is the next day, so it did actually rain, so we got a little bit of water to settle this, which was fantastic. The next step is to peg out where the garden beds are going to go. Then we'll put some cardboard down and we will put the dirt on top of that, and once we're finished, we'll put the weed mat in between. As you can see, this is now completed. What I did was I ran a string line across here, a string line across there, which gave me the sides, and I ran a string line across the back. Now, I know that the fence is fixed and straight, so I ran it 1.2 meters off the back of the fence. So there'll be a fence there to protect this area. I did 1.2 so I could get a mower, or I could walk down or do whatever I like. We've ended up with 5 beds in this area and 3 over in that area, which I'll show you in a moment. And they are 1.2 wide, or 4 feet, and then there's a gap of 6 feet or 1.8. Now why did I do 1.8? Well, for a few reasons. Gain access down there, and also the weed mat comes in 1.8. I'm trying to save as much time as possible to get these beds in, so that worked perfectly. So 1.2, 1.8 in between each bed. We've made these 1.2 meters wide or 4 feet for a good reason. If you're crouched here, you can reach to the middle. And if I'm over that side, I can reach across to the middle. So that makes it a lot easier to look after these beds. If it was wider, I'd have to reach or I'd have to step in the bed, and I don't want that. Also saves your back a lot of work as well. Do you have to go to this much trouble? No, you don't. But I like to actually lay this out so we know that the area is going to work for us. We have some raised garden beds that we've got planned. We've got arches that we've got planned. We've got a greenhouse that we've got planned. So just taking the time to do this ensures that we can fit in everything that we need to. So what's next for this garden? The next step is to lay down the cardboard and then put the dirt on top of that, add some amendments, and then plant plants. It will be raining in the next couple of days, so hopefully we can get this cardboard down and it'll get a nice soaking before we then have to put the dirt on it. The dirt we're actually using for these garden beds is the dirt we've taken from other areas of the farm. For those who've been around a while, you know we had a few issues with soil in our last property and we lost everything, so we are not actually bringing anything into the property. For the last 12 months we've been developing our worm farm. I'll put a link to that so you can see what Stephen's been doing with that, and also the compost, and we made a video on that as well if you're interested. And so everything that we are actually putting into these beds we've raised here. Also some of the amendments we've raised here. We've had a little bit of help from Stephen's worm friends, and we've had a little bit of help from our chickens and our cows, and we'll show you what we're going to use. So hopefully that will be in the next video coming up soon. Hope you've liked this video, guys. If you have, give it a thumbs up, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.